Should the Breeze topic number 2 says, politics is about family. How can there be good whites when they would have to go against their family? This takes us to another post on X. Let me make sure you guys can see it. You can. This is from JMK. It says, it quotes, "I have ties to Israel. I don't want to see Israel go up in flames more than anyone else." That was Jill Stein. So let's watch the full clip. Very short clip. Might play it twice.
The long-term concerns of Israel. I have many ties to Israel. My background is Jewish, and I grew up going to Sunday school every Sunday as a Reformed Jew. My grandparents came to this country fleeing pogroms in Eastern Europe. My grandfather's name is Israel. So, I have family ties, strong family ties to Israel here. And I don't want to see Israel go up in flames any more than anyone else. I have many ties to Israel. My background is Jewish. The long-term concerns of Israel. I have many ties to Israel. My background is Jewish. And, I grew up going to Sunday school every Sunday as a Reformed Jew. My grandparents came to this country fleeing pogroms in Eastern Europe. My grandfather's name is Israel. So, I have family ties, strong family ties to Israel here. And I don't want to see Israel go up in flames any more than anyone else. I have many ties to Israel. My background is Jewish.
All right, there goes Jill Stein. In the chat, after there's out there, and Marcus Garvey is away is out there. In the previous prompt, she said black people can't be racist, but should be. After there says, if there's evidence of one quote unquote good white, that answers the question, doesn't it? Next question. I get it, but I don't like the dismissiveness sometimes from some of you guys, man. There's clearly someone wants to discuss something here, so let's not ignore their wish to discuss whatever it is that's being presented. With this said, guys, please keep it brief going forward. Keep your responses brief going forward. I'm going to start with Ditso on this one. Ditso, what are your thoughts on this?
Okay, thanks so much. I'm a bit confused on the phrasing of the question in that sense, because first, politics is about family. Technically speaking, to a degree on the etymological definition of politics as the issues of the public, if we go for the strict etymological translation from Latin. But in the second part, how can there be good whites when they would have to go against their family? Let's be clear on this. Are there people that we construe as white who, in the event of the course of history, have joined the side of justice and get things right, etc.? Sure, they are. Just like the majority of those people that we construe as white were actually very allied to the status quo and benefited from it and made themselves rich out of the misery of our people. Judge them by the content of the character, not by the color of the skin. Is that only applicable to one side, or is it applicable to all sides in the sense of how we can approach this? Are there white people out there that will go against the traditions and status quo within their family? Sure. just like there are black people that will do the same. But in the circumstance of the subject in hand, all I have to say is language does matter, and the way we phrase things does matter. So I have to admit that I have a certain misunderstanding as to the direction of the question in itself. But that's all I'll leave it at.
I appreciate that, Did. So I'll throw this out to the chat too. Do you agree that politics is about a family? And I guess the second part of that is it possible for family to go for someone in a family member to go against the family? So that's something I'd like to hear the chat discuss a little bit. I know Trigger Happy is adding his thoughts, but that's something I'd like to hear a little bit. And I'd like to add too, I think the issue and why this is why I don't like Althazar trying to kind of dismiss it. I think the question is a question for us to really look within ourselves and stop hoping for some good white guy. We got to give up this thing of trying to, hoping that there's some good white folk and just focus on what we got to do. But I digress. Let me go to Jose next. Jose, what say you?
Yes, the mute button. I'm sorry. It's politics about family is a question to me, because one side, if we speak American politics, because in here it's like 30 parties, but if we take the American politics as example, one side is about family. It's the preserving side. I mean the conserving side. See what I did there? and the other side is well, I don't know. It was the worker side, the social side, the group where the wealth should be trickled down to. And that side is nowadays it's liberal, quote unquote, and liberal is very individualistic, even so much so that they started to invent genders. So uh, yes and no. If we look at today's left, which is not about family anymore. It used to be family because it was for the laborer, the worker, and the worker also had a house, and he wanted a car, or he needed a car, and he wanted to send his children to college, right? So it used to be about family. Nowadays it's I don't know. It's like in the Netherlands there is a term for it. It's koopvee, and it's buy cattle, meaning consumerism, lifestyles, and lifestyles. How do you maintain lifestyles? Well, in the mall, you know what I'm saying. Follow me. So it's about family, yes and no nowadays. But the other part of the topic, how can there be good white folks? I have, like I said, I have white friends, and I haven't seen them for a long time, and social media reunites people, right? And then the first days, you listen closely, because when you are out of sight as black person, when you are out of sight, you become the black person on television, so I've been also in mixed relationships with white women, and in family events, anniversaries, or New Year, Christmas, whatever. uh, uh, People would skip me, right? So that's the least, because you also have those examples, like something happened, with drugs on the other side of the country, and it were Suriname people or black people, right? Antillean, Suriname, Cape Verdean, whatever, Ghanaian, black people. And then you as the black person at the anniversary have to respond, like, so it's if you so my white partner also has to respond because she is with the black guy, right? So yeah, I don't know, man. It's a family thing, yes and no. And the good whites, they exist, but in the city where it's individualistic, right? So in rural areas where it mostly is conservative and very Christian, it's about family. In the city where it's quite liberal, it's individualistic. So you might succeed in you might find a good quote unquote white guy, but as I said in the previous topic, the white guy is going to be killed first when some Nazi militia enters the village. So it doesn't matter. Next.
Appreciate that, Jose. Let's have from Anthony next.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. The first thing I'm gonna say is this right here. The kind of, on the first part of the prompt, what I wanna do, man. I'm not gonna. Okay. First thing, everything is political. To me, everything's political. Okay. But I'm saying the way that prompt was set up, the way I kind of like, it was kind of confusing a little bit. I was trying to find exactly, what the prompt was saying, a little bit. I mean, because it's something that it could say more than one thing at one time. And I'm gonna reserve time to sit up and think about it. I come back to it another time. Sometime, I want to think about that part. But so to the second part, I go to the second part. Okay. This is why. Okay, I remember me and Borna had this conversation. A little time back. We didn't really get a chance to finish it. But I was telling the Borna, how, we refer to each other, you my Black American brother, or you my Bahamian brother. And why I used to always say to Borna, don't call me a Black American. Don't call me an American, period. Okay? Because to me, in my way of thinking, an American is a European that came over here, set up shop, stole these people's land, and parlayed it into an empire. What I'm saying, I'm talking about white settler colonialism. You know what I'm saying? Now that woman right there, Miss Stein, whatever name is, okay, with her saying that, okay, talking on two sides of my mouth, I want Israel to exist. I don't want to see Israel gone, but whatever. But I may not agree with some of the things. Look here, the very fact that it's a state of Israel, is a crime. You know what I'm saying? That's an illegal settler colony. You know what I'm saying? That these motherfucking white people got together, went over there, and took somebody's land, and bossed over their kid folks over there, and parlayed it into an empire, into a bastion of the empire, a wing of the empire to control that part of the world and the resources and things that come out that world. It's white settler colonialism. So I'm saying it like this here. As far as good white people, whatever, me as a Black nationalist and as a Garveyite, from my perspective, I'm gonna do this here. I'm gonna choose to work with my people, Black people. Now I might have a brother or a sister who will say, but hey man, maybe if we work hand in hand with somebody, with these other people, maybe we could get a little progress. But what I do, I say to them, okay, that's not my thing. I'm gonna stay over here and I'm gonna do this part. Because sometimes, you can fight a battle on two sides. But I choose to work with my people, and I tell my brother and sister, okay, if you feel like you could do something over there, make progress, by going over there and working with them and seeing if you could change minds or whatever, even though I personally don't believe it. What I'm saying is, okay, you go over there and work with them. You go over there and work with them. It's cool. You go over there and try to talk to them, do whatever you got to do. and work with them, hand in hand with them. If you think you could help, it's some good people over there on that side who understanding and who can see the bullshit that they people that they people are pushing all over the world. Okay, maybe I don't know. I mean, personally, I don't know, that ain't my thing. But I'm gonna say, look here, I'm gonna work on this side, on this front, and you go over there and work on that front. But I'm just saying, to me, at the end of the day, like I said, for all of the so-called white liberals, or the so-called liberal Zionists or whatever, you got to realize Bill Clinton was a white liberal, and look what Bill Clinton did to black people in Haiti. Bill Clinton was a liberal, and look what Bill Clinton did to black people in Somalia. Hillary Clinton was a white liberal, and look what she did in North Africa. Even though I ain't caping for Gaddafi, but look what she did over there. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Obama was a liberal. You know what I'm saying? And look at the shit that they did. At the end of the day, when you buy into the whole Americanism thing, see, I mean, to me, when I hear Americanism, I only think about a white European. I don't co-sign with settler colonialism. I don't co-sign with exporting your bullshit all over the world. And I don't set with what walk light and carry the big stick, with manifest destiny, with the Caribbean or whatever being America's backyard or whatever, or the Americas being, the rest of Central America, South America being their backyard, and undermining people's governments. You know what I'm saying? And assassinating leaders. You know what I'm saying? I don't co-sign with that shit. So I mean, I'm not an American. Yeah, I live here. I was born here. I may be a U.S. citizen, but I'm not in that Americanism thing where you had these gung ho motherfuckers. You got Negroes now. Whether they're talking about America this, America that. I mean, when they was over there conquering, over the waging their war against the Islamics, call them ragheads and doing all that stuff there. Oh yeah, you was for that. And everybody else. But then when they come back here, and you the person that they raging against. What you gonna say then? So I like, for time constraints, I ain't gonna carry on long, man. I land my plane right there, let somebody else move.
Appreciate that, Anthony. Trigger Happy in the chat said Anthony is cooking and hit the jackpot. The good whites, their people will throw. The good whites that people will throw as an example can never agree on black separatism. They want to integrate with you too. LOL. Let me go and let me hear from Brother Bakari next on this one. Brother Bakari, what's it?
Is family in politics.
Bakari, you're muted if you're talking.
You can't hear me? I'm not muted. This again. How about now? I'm not muted. Can y'all hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
Yeah, they can hear you, man.
I can hear you.
I can hear you, Brother Bakari.
Okay. It's politics about family. Okay, this is my thing when it comes to the white thing. But first, I want everybody to know that I wasn't trying to come at nobody that last thing. I was just a little passionate. So if anybody felt in a way, I just wanted to tell you that was not my thing. So I'm sorry. I'll apologize for that. If you felt like I was trying to come at you and be disrespectful, I'll apologize for that because I wouldn't. But it's the good white folks. I guess if you watch it, I was a big boxing fan. I don't know if y'all remember Emmanuel Stewart, the greatest, I'd say the greatest trainer, that I remember, that I know. And I remember then he started calling fights. And he would see a fighter lose 3-4 rounds in a row. Then that fighter that just lost 3-4 rounds in a row, he did better, let's say in the 5th round. He lost the first 4, did better in the 5th round. And people would give it to him because he did better. And Emmanuel Stewart was like, he didn't win. It was just a comparison round. In those first 4 rounds, he landed 6 punches combined. In the 5th round, he landed 7 punches alone in the 5th round. But he still lost that round to Emmanuel Stewart. So when you say there's good white people, it's like it's a comparison. Well, this white person ain't lynching me or setting stuff on fire. So it must be good because they're not like the other one, right? So I don't focus on if they're good. Is there some that we can use? Is there some that might be on your not necessarily on your team, but is there some that we can use? Yes, but in comparison, I'm not necessarily sure I can say any of them that I've ever met is just good. And you talking about them fighting their families, uh, it seemed like we might be going down that road, where some might fight their family, because I believe we're on the verge of a war. May not happen, but I do believe we are. And no, because it's her say, well, they'll fight their family. They voted. You really see some that voted against certain because of their bigotry. They voted against their best interest and their family's best interest. Now they're complaining. So I'm not sure if they fight their family. Maybe, but is any of them good? Good compared to what? Are they good compared to the slave owner? Are they good compared to the people who, like Black Steel was just talking about, who want to burn down our house if we move in their neighborhood? Are they good compared to them? In comparisons, yes, this white person will be good, but I'm not concerned if they're good. I'm just concerned about if what we can use them for. I hear the mic.
Yeah, I think a good white person is a white person who is around you. I think that's a good white person. I think a good white person is one who's not controlling your economics, that invisible hand, like what we see in the Caribbean and stuff. I think that's good white folk who aren't around. I was gonna say something, I just forgot what I was gonna say. But with that said, let's hear from Black Steel.
So, a couple things. First of all, I disagree with politics being about family. Since when has politics ever been about family? That's a new definition for me. Basically, politics are the activities associated with the governance of a country, right? Or as Mao Zedong put it, politics is warfare without bloodshed, right? So family has nothing to do with it, if you ask me. It's about serving needs, about acquiring resources, about acquiring power. Um, Jill Stein's an interesting person because Jill Stein, although she is Jewish, Jill Stein is not a Zionist, right? She is a believer in the two-state solution, that there can be two states. There can be Israel, there's a Palestine, it can coexist with they can coexist with one another and happily ever after, right? So in my Jill, she's although I like Jill, I think she's a bit naive in this case. Israel has long demonstrated it has no desire to live alongside anybody that it cannot subjugate. So the idea that a Jewish state and a Palestinian state can exist alongside each other is just, I don't know, it's play if you ask me. Um, but one thing I would say is that white people are people, right? And people can be good, they can be bad or whatnot. There are individual white people who've done good things, and not good things for black people, but good things for other white people. So I often talk about Karl Marx, Communist Manifesto. Karl Marx talked about, giving white people the right to freedoms and the right to have their own land, destroying the bourgeoisie, collective ownership of the means of production, so that way everybody's needs are met. This is something that is good for white people. White people hate his guts. They go to Karl Marx's grave and shoot it up all the time. John Brown led a slave revolt in American history. He went down to Harper's Ferry, Virginia. He tried to organize the black people in the area to help take control of the federal arsenal, and he was executed for it. So I believe that John Brown was a good white man. William Lloyd Garrison, a white abolitionist. He also was someone who believed that black people should be free from slavery. Maybe not believe they have equal rights. Before his time, he was considered to be a radical. You have what they call the radical Republicans, those white people who, after the Civil War, they want to organize and sign the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendments. They had their own personal reasons. But I do think as individuals, white people can be good, right? But I believe the problem is that the good white people don't hold any sway within their population. And that's the problem. The good white people don't get put on dollar bills. The good white people don't have statues made in their honor. The good white people don't be on cereal boxes. So yeah, there's that. The good white people ain't running stuff. So the white people who out here hugging trees and stopping livestock from being taken to the slaughterhouse, those white people are looked at by the mass of white people as insane, right? So when you have white people who say, you know what, we shouldn't have child labor, we shouldn't work our children to death. So those white people are looked at as, what's wrong with these people? Of course we should work our children to death. Those are what I would call good white people, but not good for black people, just good for white people themselves. White people who say, you know what, we shouldn't dump toxins and pollutions in our water. That might kill somebody. You know, those are the good white people who say, you know what, maybe we should pay everybody fairly. Maybe we should, you know, but again, those white people don't have any sway or anything in society. You put George Washington on a dollar bill, this man who was a slave owner, this man who was a destroyed. You put Thomas Jefferson, you put Alexander Hamilton, you put, Andrew Jackson. These are the white people who get celebrated. Not the white, you get the Cecil Rhodes of the world. These are the white people who get celebrated. So yeah, there are some good white people. I do believe there are, but there's not enough of them to really change the trajectory of Western civilization. So at this point, like, what's the point? There are some good white people, but until these white people are willing to put down their bodies on the line, which there have been some white people who've been willing to die, but if you're willing to put your bodies on the line not for black people, we doing our own thing, but for white people, why don't you work? My only thing is, if you got these good white people, why do they always feel the need to come amongst black people and show their goodness? Go tell your Meemaw. Go tell your Pawpaw. Go be good to them, because they're in need of your goodness more so than we are. So I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Appreciate that, Black Steel. Yeah, there's a comment from Afro Native World that reminded me what I wanted to say before Black Steel went. Is the problem with the good white person narrative is our people teach our children that nonsense. So our children grow up with this hope in white folks, and that's a dangerous thing. I think we got to get off of that. This is why, you'll see some of our young men hugging a white man while they have their full black father in their lives. You'll see them hugging a white man within a basketball game or some shit. And it looks so pathetic. It's that good white guy thing again. I think we just need to just move away from it. Shout out to Ketter, who's in the chat. I think I shouted out Marcus Garvey the way earlier. Marcus Garvey, I sent you a message on Discord, so check it for me when you have a chance. Same thing with Buana as well. Provide Triggers is out there as well. Shout out to her. Real quick, Ketter said, a good white person, he says, the only good white person in his books were the white Polish soldiers who turned on Napoleon during the Haitian Revolution. Okay. With that said, Buana wasn't here. I think Buana's the only person I didn't get to here, right? With that said, let's hear from Buana. Buana, you heard everything everyone else had to say. What say you to this?
Yeah, I hope I could be heard, because this thing is on the fritz again. So I hope I can be heard. Um, uh,
Yeah,
I remember there was a question was asked to Malcolm X. Malcolm X was asked whether there was any good. His response is, yeah, Hitler. And the reason why he said Hitler is because blacks were given opportunities that, in terms of being in the military and being employed, prior to Hitler coming into office. So I think that good is it's an extremely subjective word based off of who basically defining what good is. So I would say that there is a South African artist. Well, he used to be a South African artist. His name was Lucky Dube. Lucky Dube made a reggae song called My Brother, My Enemy. And in that song, he basically said that, and this was his statement, he said that not every black man is a brother, not every white man is an enemy. And it's been my experience the words of that statement. I didn't understand it back then, but I understand the words of that statement. In dealing with groups like FBA existed, even in my society itself. Let me don't even go into America. Even in a Bahamian society, there are black people who would do things that not only would harm black people, but as a reality. And I could name these people, politicians, people in high office. So I question and there are also white folks who have done production, but for the health and the existence of black white people. Would I consider them to be good or bad? I would let the moral judges judge whatever that means. What I would say is, our white people have been of benefit to black people? Absolutely. That they have been of benefit to black people. And it's some white people. And if you don't believe that, in the Underground Railroad, there are black people who participated in the Underground Railroad, but not by themselves. In the freedom struggles of black people, because you can't free yourself at 14% of the population. This is a reality. I know we like to talk delusional things, and I like to talk delusional things like we can beat anybody, but the reality is if the numbers are not there, you must have people to assist and aid and help. Some things you can't do by yourself. And that's just a thing. And there are conscious people, they throw away the idea of skin color ideology. Not everybody cling to that ideology. Not only black people, some white people, some people say, okay, yes, but these are human beings. We have to look at people on a humanistic level. I know some people hate that word, humanism. But this is a reality. So I would leave that to the people who are wordsmiths and like to define things in the way they like to define things. But I would say that have there been beneficial people who have been benefit of benefit to black people? Absolutely. And it works both ways as well. Many doctors in the hospital, black doctors, they don't deny help and assistance to white people just because of labor and etc. So as far as this prompt is, that's a whole nother matter. And I would wish sometimes the people who create these prompts would come and assist in the explanation of it, and maybe be able to argue and debate across the board so we could get a better understanding of what is meant in terms of these kinds of prompts. But I'll leave it there, Koku, because I'm having problems.
All right, Bona. Yeah, I think I think black folks need to be very careful in how much humanism they practice when there's inhumanism going on around them. I also think while a thing is a thing, and yes, a couple of white folks helped with the Underground Railroad and this, that, and the other, I think we have to be careful how we talk about that, because it sounds really close to white worship. Be grateful for whoever helped in a thing, but like Trigger Happy mentions in the chat, those same white folks who were helping probably wouldn't create a world, a society that we would appreciate, that we would flourish in anyway. Because at the end of the day, that's just the nature of this beast. This beast is whether they are cool with you being in their neighborhood, or whether they appreciate you being far away from where they are. The reality of it is they all hold a sentiment of you're going to be underneath us. You're here for our entertainment, for our servitude. You're going to be underneath us. And we will sabotage you to keep you there. So this idea of good whites, I don't really see it. If you helped us in some way, okay, thanks. But we got to help ourselves. We got to forget about other people and really do the things to help ourselves. Kofi came back. Let's hear what Kofi has to say before we move on to the next topic.
Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't get this prompt. My phone was dying. I'm not really sure what it is, what's going on, but I agree with what I heard what Juana said on the tail end. But when you were saying something, Coco, you struck something about basketball players and these athletes, and they're hugging their dads when they got and they got dads in their life and things like that. And it struck a memory. I have a sister, right? She plays women's basketball. She had a coach named Asher. If this is not a good white man, I don't know what a good white man is. So Asher, remember, basketball team, we're talking about like 20-something girls. Let's be honest now. Black, white, indigo, checkered, or plaid. Not everybody's parents is there for them. And even the ones that are there, right? Even the ones that are there, sometimes they don't have the things that they can provide for their children. So when my sister has people, hey, we have an away game, you need clothes, you need sneakers, you need these essential things, right? This coach would take money out of his own pocket and buy children and buy his teammates whatever they need. They don't got a book bag to go to school, Ash buys them a book bag. They need money for anything they need, Asher will buy them these things. The first time I realized, it was like after practice. I went to practice one time, and after practice it was like Saturday. I remember it was Saturday, and we was like, oh, we're going to McDonald's. So I'm thinking everybody's gonna pay for themselves. I'm getting ready to get my little money out. My sister's like, what are you doing? I was like, oh, I'm about to pay. No, Asher paying for all of us. That's what Ash do. I'm like, what? I'm like, what? Like, yeah, he does that. This is a man that does things like if their father is not there, the father is not in their life, that was their surrogate father. Now, for all the people that say white people are evil and they're all evil and stuff like that, what is this man gonna get out of helping black women? What's the nefarious agenda of him helping black women? Up to the point where they revere this man. Like, we may not like it, but that's the reality. You know what I'm saying? My sister, she was cool. She was fine. You know what I'm saying? She comes up short or whatever, asking me like, you short something here, here's $20, $30, $40. My sister was not in need like that. But there were other black females that were in need, and because their father is not there or they don't have the money or the funds, he was their surrogate father. Full stop. He was their surrogate father. So I'm only mentioning this because when you said that, it kind of triggered. We don't know what these people are going through. We also have to understand in the society that we're in right now, right? Because what they did during slavery, they attacked the black family. We have to understand our dysfunction is now normalized. So when the rubber meets the road and we need fathers in our life and we need financial stability that should come from a family, we don't have that. So there's a saying, a helping hand, clean or dirty, is still a helping hand. You're not gonna smack a hand away from you because, oh, that hand is white. And I'll end it right here. If we were in a position where we need arms, and a European country like, you know what, I see you guys have a need for something. Here's military arms. I can give you guys tanks, guns, ammunition. Y'all telling me y'all not gonna take it? Like, come on, we have to be real. We have to understand that just because we may say, oh, these are some good white people here, means that we gotta like lay our guard down for all other white people. You know, so I'm just saying, food for thought. I'll land my plane there.
Can I ask Kofi a question?
Yeah, go for it.
Hey, Kofi, and I'm asking these questions for a reason. I put them in the chat. Did your sister play any college basketball?
She played for Fairfield, Fairfield, Connecticut.
Okay,
Fairfield University.
So she had her scholarship in basketball, right? I don't know how much you
Yeah.
keep up with sports, and I don't even know when this is. And I ain't gonna try to take you off your pedestal of saying this is a good white guy. He did some good deeds. I ain't trying to tell you nothing. But me, someone who's been involved with someone who had college scholarships, I can tell you this: he got all that money back. And when I say he got all that money back, they've been pimping
No,
our
Brother Bakari,
kids.
I'm sorry. Brother Bakari, my bad. I'm not cutting you off. That was my sister's high school coach. Her coach
I know,
was
so let me
Nolan.
finish.
Okay.
You say her high school coach, and I'm trying to tell you, they've been pimping our kids forever. Dude, when our children, black people, go to college, and I can tell you what I know for a fact, and I can even get to talk to some coaches. Those high school coaches calling the schools, having certain schools come and look, the schools they know they are going to get something from. So he did good deeds, but I'm willing to bet you he got way more back than what he spent, and y'all probably didn't get nothing out the deal. Especially if she was good. Especially if she was good.
Can I respond? Now, I don't know the intricate details, but what I do know, my sister, no one say, hey, here's a college for you to go to. You got a scholarship, blah, 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 blah. No one was pushing these things in her face. I remember I was going all around her through the East Coast, going to Pennsylvania, going to all these places for her to make decisions. She said, these are the colleges that I want to go to, right? It wasn't, I don't remember anyone saying, oh, you're going to go to Rutgers. Oh, you're going to go to Georgetown. She was like, I don't know where I'm going to go. I'm going to go to where I'm accepted. They saw her, you know, and whatever she wanted to go, she had to try out. Obviously, they saw her stats or whatever, and she did the tryouts or whatever, and they accepted her. I do see what you're saying now. When I'm talking about this, I'm talking like this is like late 90s. So maybe things have changed, but up to this day, Asher, this is something that he has done all the time. Like, if I understand, like, hey, look, my player don't have no sneakers or whatever. She can't afford sneakers, right? Let me buy her sneakers. Yeah, because that's your incentive. I'm talking this man went beyond the fact of being like an actual surrogate father. I'm not making sure that, oh, you don't got money for your uniforms, you got money for your sneakers, you got money for transportation to get the games. I'm talking like things that has not game related. Like, even if you don't do it, you know what I'm saying? Like having your book bag, having certain things like, oh, well, from what I've seen, that's a good man. He was genuine with it. You just have to know him. And again, this was their surrogate father. A lot of them, there was their surrogate father because some of these girls did not have a father at all. So again, a dirty helping hand is still a helping hand.
And the thing is, nobody never said turn. See, I think you're getting confused when you saying who's gonna turn down if a European country want to give you this. Nobody ever said turn down if someone was trying to help. No one ever said that. But I was just asking. I was just asking the question because I know how dirty that game could be. I had to go through that with my oldest son, who had 25 football scholarships when he graduated. When he graduated out of high school, and I saw some of his friends, and I see it, and I just know how dirty that game can be, especially if the colleges is talking to the coaches, high school coaches, more than they're talking to the family. That's it. That's it. That's the only reason. That's the only reason I was asking.
Can I drop in real quickly on that? I've been listening to everybody. I just want to say as following. Politics is about family. Sure, if we could, I've been thinking about it. If we could analogously say that one as a child is subjected to the government of one's parents, then technically speaking, the affairs of the state within a family can be somewhat analogous to the affairs of the state of a whole nation, to a degree. In this sense, this is why I said before that one of the conditions in regards of the expression of privileges is family. And there's multi-generational privileges, as well as there's multi-generational trauma. And both things can exist in the same realm at the same time. So that is why I did take issue with the phrasing of the question in that sense, because we can recognize that white people, some of them, have contributed to our movements of liberation, but does that give them a complete pass card in regards of the heritage of the overall ethnical bullshit that white people have thrown our way? Not necessarily. So again, I just say this. I think all of us here, our families have taught us, white people, proceed with caution. Mostly occasionally harmful, rarely unharmful. That's all I was going to say.
I appreciate that. I think I got to everyone on that topic, right? Buana, I got to Buana on that too. So I think I got to everyone on that topic. Is there any last brief thoughts on the topic? If not, let's go to Shoot the Breeze topic number 3, which is a little bit of a odd one, but why not?